Last class, we have learned the rescue measure for the person with an electric shock by the artificial respiration method. In this class, we will continue to learn the rescue measure for the person with an electric shock by the external chest compression method. By making rescue the person with electric shock by external chest compression method, the key points and difficult points of this class are to grasp the first air method and steps for electric shock by the external chest compression method. To rescue the person with electric shock by external chest compression method, firstly, it needs to judge whether the person with electric shock is in cardiac arrest or not. Judge whether the patient is in cardiac arrest or not, which is commonly determined by touching the carotid artery. This is because that the carotid artery is not only large but also close to the heart, and it beats in a powerful way, and is in an exposed position, being convenient to touch. At the time of touching, place one hand on the forehead of the person with electric shock, and make his head lie backward. Place the index finger and the middle finger of one hand on the Adam's apple of the person with electric shock, and then slip to the groove between the windpipe and the muscle group. If the carotid artery does not beat, it means that there is cardiac arrest. When touching the carotid artery, one needs to pay attention. 1. Don't touch with too much force, touch only one side, rather than both sides simultaneously, so as to avoid the carotid artery from hindering blood supply of the head due to pressure. In addition, the carotid artery in the neck may cause cardiac arrest reflectively if under pressure. 2. Since the pulse may be slow, irregular, or weak or rapid, when it can't be determined whether the pulse stops or not, you can touch for some time longer, but shall not exceed 10s in general, so as not to influence the rescue. External chest compression method. When the person with electric shock is not in respiration arrest but cardiac arrest, rescue shall be made by the external chest compression method. External chest compression method refers to maintaining blood circulation of the person with electric shock by the strong artificial and mechanical action, so as to enable the heart to restore normal beat gradually. Next, let's learn the specific operations from the video. 1. Correct compression method. The rescue person shall squat down on one side of the person with electric shock, and use the index finger and middle finger of the hand close to the lower limbs of the person with electric shock, to touch the rib margin, and then slip to the place where the rib is tangential to the sternum. Place the middle finger in the tangential place, and place the index finger on the lower end of the sternum close to the middle index. Place the heel of another palm on the sternum close to the index finger of the first hand, and this is the correct compression position. The compression position must be correct, which is an important premise for guaranteeing the compression effect. Then, remove the first hand, and overlap on the back of the other hand, with both palms parallel to each other. The fingers may be either stretched or staggered with each other. But the fingers must be up away from the chest. The fingers can't be placed on the ribs, so as to prevent damage to the ribs at the time of compression. 2. Key points of compression. 1. The compression posture shall be correct. The correct compression posture is to stoop slightly, with the upper body leaning forward slightly, and the shoulders right above both hands. Stretch both arms, and fix the elbow joints. Then use the weight of the upper part of the body and the force of both the shoulders and the arms to compress downward in a vertical and stable way. After compression, the rescue person shall lean his upper body backward slightly, to make the chest pressure of the person with electric shock disappear and enable diastolic heart, but not remove the heels of the palms away from the compression site, so as to avoid not being able to find the correct compression point next time. At the time of compression, do not apply force to the opposite side, which will make it easy for the body of the person with an electric shock to shake to the opposite side, thus failing to play the effect of compressing the heart. In the meantime, it may also damage the internal organs, or result in sternum and rib fractures. 2. The compression depth shall be proper. The compression depth shall be 3 to 5 centimeters for adults, and shall be reduced appropriately for children, above 8 years old, and thin and weak persons. There will be a poor effect if the compression depth is not enough. It will damage the ribs, sternum or internal organs, liver, spleen, lung, etc., if compressed too deep. 3. The compression frequency shall be appropriate. Compression shall be performed in an uninterrupted and regular way. The compression speed shall be even, at around 80 times per minute. The compression time and the relaxation time shall be equal every time. If operating properly, the carotid pulse can be touched at the time of compression. When the person with electric shock is in both respiration and cardiac arrest, rescue shall be made by both mouth-to-mouth artificial respiration and external chest compression method, i.e., cardiopulmonary resuscitation method. The method is, when making a rescue by a single person, blow air 2 times after compressing 15 times every time, 15:2, which shall be repeated, when making a rescue by 2 persons, after compressing for 5 times every time, another person shall blow air once, 5:1, which shall be repeated. At the time of 2-person operation, they shall make good teamwork, i.e., compression shall not be done while making air blowing, and air blowing shall not be done while making compression. Now we have learned all the contents of Project 3. We have learned the types of electric shock, the causes of electric shock, and the first aid methods of electric shock, been familiar with the requirements and principles for first aid of electric shock, and grasped the method for extricating the person with an electric shock from the power supply. We have learned the first aid of electric shock, and the rescue measure for the person with electric shock by artificial respiration method. By rescuing the person with electric shock by artificial respiration method, grasp the first aid method and steps for electric shock by artificial respiration method. That concludes this lesson. Thank you, everyone.